If you are a serious videographer, whether you do weddings, seminars, events, commercials, podcasts, then you need to take a look at the Panasonic Lumix GH7. I'm gonna give you 10 reasons why the Micro Four Third is not dead, and I really recommend a camera like this. Check this out. What's up guys, I'm bringing it from Camera to Freedom. If you guys use your camera to take photos and videos and make YouTube content like me so that you can live a life of freedom, hit the like and subscribe and let's go guys. So guys, Christmas time. Every Christmas my wife gives me an expensive camera, and this year she gave me two cameras. She got me two cameras. I was blessed. Panasonic GH7 and she got me the Nikon ZR. So Nikon ZR video is coming soon, but I'm gonna start with the Panasonic GH7. Now first off, reason number one why I think that this camera is a must-have. A lot of videographers are so concerned with full frame. I have full frame cameras too. My Nikon Z8, Z6 III, I got the red Komodo, that's a Super 35. I had the S1. I've always had a full frame camera, but there are somewhat of a limitation. For example, you can't record forever. Right? You have to kind of stop after 30 minutes, after an hour, after 2 hours. But the Panasonic Lumix, starting my first Panasonic, I had GH3 all the way to GH4, GH5, GH6, GH now 7. It's a workhorse. I love this camera. For my weddings, it's absolutely a must. I shoot 8-hour-long seminars sometimes, and this thing could shoot all day without stopping. It is a powerhouse. So it's the most reliable camera that I got, and also it's super tiny. Look at this camera that I'm using right now. So I'm using Panasonic GH5 II, and this is my workhorse. I use this for everything. Yes, my wedding primary camera, I love to use my Z8, the Z6 III, full frame. But if I want reliability that never overheats, my full frame has overheated before. Panasonic cameras have never overheated on me ever since the beginning of my videography career. It's never happened because the sensors are small. I do real estate. If you're a real estate videographer, then I definitely recommend this. I'll give you reasons why. But one of them is, like, for example, this super wide angle lens. Look how tiny this is. So this is my full frame 35 to 150. My 70 to 200 is even more massive. But check out their equivalents of a lens. This is a size of a Red Bull can. This is tiny and super light. Look at that. So I'm taking my camera, I'm taking all these different lenses. Look at that. This tiny little guy is equivalent to an 85mm f1.8. Look how tiny that sucker is. 50mm lens, tiny. Everything is super small, super reliable, super light, especially when you're on a gimbal all day. The Micro Four Third allows you to get a speed booster, so you could use any lens, period. I have my Nikon manual lens, big lens with a speed booster on, put on the GH camera, then you get that creamy, blurry background that a lot of Micro Four Third cameras typically don't have because of the smaller lens. But you can't get the blurry background with an adapter or getting a f1.2 and things like that. So you can still get the awesome blurry background. And on top of that, I also have their anamorphic lens, and the fact that it runs all day without any issues. So it is the most reliable camera that I have in my arsenal. So I'm gonna start opening it up and just see how it looks. Okay, let's open this up. Oh yeah, let's go baby. I haven't opened it up yet, so do I really need to upgrade? I mean, you technically don't have to, but why not? It's got new features that my other GH cameras doesn't have, so I'm very excited about that. It's an equivalent of Sony's FX3. Their Cine video camera. This is Panasonic's Cine video camera. They definitely made it that great. So let's open this up. Let's see what's in here. Of course, manuals. Boom, boom, boom. All right. And this is, ooh, and I love that this camera is made in Japan. Japan is fancy. Like Nikon, and I think Canon is Japanese too. Japan just seems to just know exactly what they're doing with their camera gears. Sony's camera, Japan, I love it. But a lot of the lenses that I get are from China. So at least they make it affordable. I love it. Let's see. So let's open this up. Dun, 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 dun. First time opening it. And this is absolutely beautiful. Ooh, I love it. So there's so many features that I love about this. Pop that out, boom. Let's take everything out. Of course, the standard charger, and of course, the Panasonic battery, the strap that nobody uses. Another feature that I really love about the Panasonic GH7 that the other cameras don't have is that it has a record button in the front, pushing the red button on top, or even the shutter button, and it has a tally light. A red light will come out on the front, letting you know that it's recording. I love that little tiny feature. So this camera has 13 stops of dynamic range, which is absolutely amazing. This thing records in 5.7K. I love the fact this camera records in ProRes RAW internally, and with the Atomos 5, you could do both. You could get an H.264 or an H.265 video internally, and also using an Atomos, get a ProRes RAW out of it and get dual recording at the same time if you want to. This thing has 4K 120 frames per second. It also records audio while you're on 120 frames per second. The autofocus also works. There's cameras that if you go into 100 frames per second, it stops recording audio and the autofocus doesn't work anymore. But this can do both. This thing could also record in 300 FPS for super slow motion. None of my camera could go 300 frames per second. That's crazy. But just know that the autofocus stops working and the internal audio recording stops working as well. But the fact that you could get super slow motion like that is absolutely awesome. And also for $250 add-on, you could also purchase an ARRI log. If you have an ARRI camera, you could use this as like a Cam B, Cam C, and be able to match colors. Use ARRI, film in ARRI log, use ARRI LUT, and then match the colors. And this thing has dual card slot. You could use an SD card, a CF Express Type B memory card. So I'm gonna take that out. And the cool thing about this is also that you could record video simultaneously to both cards. My Nikon, for example, my Nikon Z8, Z6 III and all that, and some of my other cameras, it has 2 slots, but you can record photos on both slots at the same time, but when it comes to video, it just won't. But for the fact that it's a Micro Four Thirds smaller sensor, I'm guessing it's slightly easier. I don't know the technology, but it is really cool that you could have video backup, because when it comes to, like, for example, shooting weddings, we like to have redundancy. I have experienced where an SD card have died. I'm sure you've experienced that too. This is not 100% fail-proof. Once in a blue moon, an SD card will die and you will lose all your files in there. So might as well, it's not gonna harm anything. You might as well record in both the memory cards if you are shooting weddings or important events that you feel like you just want to back up just in case. So I'm going to, okay, all right. So we'll say express card in here, slot 1. I mean, one thing I love about this also is the screen. This screen is very different. Screen that flips out like this, right? That goes in and out. But then the problem with this one for my other cameras is that if you have cable going inside to plug in your HDMI, headphone jack, and audio recording, things like that, it kind of gets in the way. But the fact that it protrudes out, and on top of flipping, this thing could flip vertical as well. Look at that. I love the fact it has both, because then if you do that and you flip the screen out, then it's definitely not touching any of the cables here. Thoroughly thought out all the problems that made the GH7 like the ultimate awesome video camera. This screen alone is pretty awesome. It's too bad it's not as big as the Nikon ZR 4-inch screen, but and my wife also got me the knickknacks that I need, like the cage. The cage right over here. This camera has open gate recording. I don't know why not every single camera has the ability to shoot in open gate. Your sensor is almost a square. It's a little bit of a rectangle, but it's almost a square. But most of my cameras, it will shoot in widescreen. So the top part of the sensors are not even being used. I have no idea why not every camera does it, but this camera does it. It uses the full open gate sensors, giving you a square video, which is so important nowadays because for social media, my clients want a vertical reel out of it. So normally if it doesn't shoot in open gate and you're shooting a wide angle, when you do a vertical cut out of that, you just get this tiny little middle piece and it doesn't look that great. It's just kind of squished in. Normally you want to shoot a vertical phone video, right? Open gate, I give them both and they both look awesome. Another reason why open gate is great is because right now the video that you're watching, this is anamorphic lens that I'm using. I'm using a Sirui anamorphic lens. Definitely check out Sirui. They make awesome cheap lenses, but they're super good quality and they've been making anamorphic lenses I've owned since day one and I love their lenses. They are not neglecting the Panasonics because they have the open gate. Shooting anamorphic with an open gate is absolutely perfect. Anamorphic stretches out your video, and if your video is normally normal 16:9, then it becomes super skinny. Anamorphic with an open gate and shoot an open gate square, then when you stretch it out, it becomes 16:9. I'm always using the Panasonics because of the open gate. So important. Yeah, you always got to get a cage. They're always doing an awesome job coming out with an awesome looking cage. Yeah, all my cameras have cages. A lot of my cameras have even skins on it. I protect the heck out of my camera. So another reason why I love this camera is that the autofocus is absolutely amazing. It has a technology called face detection. I always thought it meant face because it catches people's face, their eyes and their face. It will also detect body. Now that is so important. Body? I feel like that's new. None of my camera has a body detection because, like for example, my Nikon cameras, right? It face detection, and then when they turn around, when the couple, bride and groom, bride turns around and you see the back of the head, like their first dance, right? All of a sudden you see the back of their head, right? And it tries to catch someone else's face. That gets kind of annoying sometimes. Not all the time, but it happens. But this thing has a body detection. So if a person's face turns away from you, it catches their body. It stays with them. So I've read. I haven't tested it out. I'm making another video after I use it on weddings and events to give you a real opinion about how great it is. I already know it's going to be great because I use my Panasonics so much. Now that is super awesome. Body detection. That's a whole new level that every other camera needs to kind of catch up on use. Stabilization. IBIS stabilization is one of the best ever. I use my gimbal 90% of the times I'm filming events and real estate and construction business seminars and parties, and I'm on the gimbal all the time. I love getting creative, cool gimbal shots. It's my thing. I love gimbal stuff. I'm always trying to get cool gimbal shots. And when I'm using my full frames and other cameras and so on, I have to be super stable. I talk about how you gotta walk like a duck and just be like a ninja. You gotta be smooth with it. And even then, because you're running around so much shooting weddings and you have to be quick on your feet and you're not smooth 100% of the time. So I have to admit, there are many times my shots are not as clean as I want it to be. Well, the GH series has always been super smooth all the time. And the fact that they improved on the stabilization on this GH7, could it get any better? But they made it better. So you have a lens stabilization, then you have IBIS internal stabilization, then you have the software boost stabilization where it's almost like a tripod mode. Even if you are zooming in all the way 200 meters and you just stay still and you're in the boost mode and you're recording, the shots look super still, like it's on a tripod, right? So they have that. I sometimes forget to turn it off. And before, if the electronic stabilization is on, then when you move around, everything just gets wobbly. Boom. You could see this weird wobbling effect because it's trying its best to stay still. So then your shots are messed up. And then a little later, I'll realize, oh my God, I'm in the wrong mode. My shots are looking crazy. Boom, turn off the electronic stabilization. But they fixed it finally after many years of having that problem. Now, when you are using the electronic boost and you decide that you're gonna move around, it does not warp anymore. As a matter of fact, it's almost like a gimbal shot without having a gimbal. So if you are a vlogger and you just wanna handhold it, put on a stick, or just handhold, get a stable shot like a gimbal shot, then you could get awesome stable shots with using the boost mode without it wobbling. Come on, finally. Thank you, Panasonic, for fixing that. I'm excited to be using that for sure. Next awesome feature is 32-bit audio in a camera. Finally, it's about time. Most cameras out there cannot do 32-bit internally. There's new cameras that's coming out. Sony has one. Nikon ZR that my wife got me has one, which is the best one out of all of them. But I'll talk about that when I do my Nikon video. There's a little asterisk right next to it because you need to get yourself a DMW XLR2 adapter that goes on top. That's kind of pricey, that I feel like I don't want to spend that extra money on that thing just to get a 32-bit audio recorder. If you like me, you shoot weddings and events and anything that has speeches and seminars, get yourself a Zoom recorder. The new Zoom recorders like this H1 XLR, super cheap by the way, like a little bit over $100. 32-bit internal recorder right here. $200 version one, which is the H4. It's got a recorder on top. Both take in XLRs and a quarter plug in here. You could also attach a quarter thread here, attach it to your camera. It has a 3.5 millimeter jack that goes into your camera. You could put a shotgun boom mic on top of this thing and you get 32-bit recording into your system, into the micro SD card, and you have 32-bit audio. So you could do it that way. So I definitely recommend it. I'm gonna put all the links of my Amazon links below. And if you do buy from me anything, I love you for it. Thank you so much for the support. Ooh, let me see how that look. Look at that. Ooh, I love that. This cage is a must. So this GH7 low light is way better than any of my previous GH cameras. GH3, oh my God, 400, that's it, 400 ISO. And then it gets slightly better and slightly better. And my GH5 too, my favorite camera, ISO 1600, and after that, maybe 1600. I don't want to go any further than that. It could go comfortably up to 4000 ISO and it's still gonna look great. 4000 is crazy for a Micro Four Third. You could get dummy batteries with a little USB-C that pops out a little bit, or you don't even need that dummy battery because of the fact that this camera could also charge your battery and power your camera through the USB-C. And I definitely recommend a battery handle like this ZG-Syn battery handle. This is crazy awesome. This, oh my God. If you're a videographer, you need this. This is a power bank that you put your video light on top of, and it powers like 90% of a video light that's 60 watts and below. It doesn't power your 300 watt, but I have a 60 watt light right now. This thing will power that, put on top, boom. You don't need to plug it into the wall. This thing powers your phone, your laptop, but best of all, check out this thing. You could put this, it comes with this little adapter on top. You have a little handle that you could put on a tripod and so on. You get a USB-C cable and plug it in, and now you got a camera that will last you forever. If you got a full day of shooting, 8 hours, 12 hours, whatever, I'm telling you, connect this together, put it on a tripod, film, and this thing will last you forever. Oh my God, I love the way this thing looks. Okay, so that concludes my video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I will answer all your questions. And please check out my cameratofreedom.com website. Give me your email. I'm gonna give free tutorials on how to do drones and videos and photos and everything that I know. I feel so happy that sometimes I get a comment saying that it actually helped them, that my little tutorial help them, and it just makes me feel great that we could connect across the world and that we could help each other out and just share and just kind of be in this one world where we're using our camera to make a living, to live a life of freedom. That's what I'm trying to, that's why I put that in there. Camera to freedom, live a life of freedom using your camera. I do have links for all my products. If you do buy from me, my Amazon links, I appreciate you very much for that. And I got a t-shirt for sale. I'm a photographer. I got t-shirts for sale. I got some cool LUTs and, wedding tutorial guides and things like that. That's like 10 bucks, Anyways, if you have watched it all the way through, thank you so very much. And I will see you next time.